The following is a paid advertisement for Dial-A-Date from 1149467 Ontario Inc. for adults only.
What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get.
Welcome to episode 1837 of Toronto Mic'd, an award-winning podcast, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery. Order online at greatlakesbeer.com for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Visit palmapasta.com for more. Fusion Corp's own Nick Iones. He's the host of Building Toronto's Skyline and Building Success, two podcasts that you ought to listen to. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Joining me today, making his Toronto Mic's debut, is the Prince of Love, David Bronstein. Or is it?
Hey, man.
Kire, how you doing, buddy?
Sorry. I'm sorry. That's how I'm doing.
What are you sorry about?
You try to do a nice thing, and then it kind of backfires. that kind of sorry.
Okay, so now we need to tell the listenership what the heck we're talking about. Okay, so you tell them, because this is like a improvised emergency recording, because I want to talk about your fine film, but I was going to do that with a guy who's in the film, David Bronstein.
Yep. The one and only, the Prince of Love.
The Prince of Love. I pulled clips. Can I play like just 90 seconds of this?
Can.
Okay.
Of course you can.
So I was going to play this as the cold open. Here we go.
Hey, if you love talking to singles, you'll love seeing the singles you're talking to live at the internet address on the screen. That's right. Go to the internet address on your screen and you'll connect live to the same people you're seeing on the show. Not pictures, not videos, but see and chat live to Veronica. See and chat live to Carlos. It's Dial-A-Date uncensored, unrestricted, uncut, especially the guys. Anything goes, even their clothes. And it rhymes. So go to the internet address on your screen, run to your computer, or to your bookstore's computer, your office computer, your friend's computer. You gotta see Dial-A-Date uncensored with hot girls, hot guys, live, uncensored, unrestricted. Anything goes, even their clothes. David. It rhymes.
So that's David Bronstein.
Yeah, anybody of our generation will remember him. He helped me get me through my teen years. It would be late nights. It would be City TV Baby Blues, back and forth. That, maybe a little Comedy Central, Tom Green. Or Comedy Network, and then Dave Bronstein.
Like, without a doubt. And because I saw your film, so we are going to talk about Junkie Run, okay? I promise you that. I don't have you for a long time, but again, we threw this together last second. You weren't supposed to be on Toronto Mike today. David Bronstein was. And the reason he was visiting the basement studio, David Bronstein, was because of you, man. Like, I want to say thank you, because I love talking to these characters, and David Bronstein is the kind of guy I do want to get in the basement and talk to him about Dial-A-Date, and then talk about his role in your film and everything. But like, and again, you're not responsible for this, but David was scheduled for a 2:00 Toronto Mic'd episode.
Yeah.
And then I got a note, like a kind of an interesting note, like a text, basically like, I'm going to a bagel place to do a promo, so I'll be late. He said I'll be 2:30, and I'm like, okay, that's inconvenient, because I'm like you, like I got stuff stacked up, and I got different things I gotta put on call.
Of course.
But I'm like, okay, like I do want to talk to this guy, and I also really like you, so be flattered. But I'm like, okay, I'll do 2:30. But 2:30 became 2:40, and then I sent him a text and I said, like, what's your ETA? And he's like, I can't remember, but he said like, "Can you pick me up at Islington Station?" And I'm like, "I don't have a car." And then I finally at 3 o'clock. Now we're an hour late. Okay, I texted him. I'm like, are you here? Because I can whip together a quick episode with you. I've got this audio
Yeah.
pulled. And again, you're not responsible for this. But he's like, "Oh, I'm almost at Islington." I'm like, "Is he like? I don't understand any of this." And I'm like, he's like, I do the math and I realize, oh, there's no time to record. And I told him to just go home.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with David doesn't drive. Not that's an excuse. Um, he's usually a lot of his TikToks are him being driven around by someone in the passenger seat. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'll talk to him after this. It just kind of sucks. I think like he's such a you said such a great, such an iconic Toronto character.
Right.
He doesn't do a lot of interviews or promos. Even just like I was less interested in him talking about my film. I just think in general he's such an interesting character and he's been around. People know him. People love him. I thought it'd be great for you to kind of just have that time to kind of just do like a deep dive into like
Yeah.
where he started, what went wrong, and where he's at now. You know what I mean?
Well, dude, you and I both like I want to talk to the city's characters. And
Yeah,
he's one, and again, dial a date, late night TV infomercials. As you can imagine, I have a bunch of questions about that. I
of
did,
course.
I found out he was on a CBC show called After Hours, and I pulled a clip of
Yeah,
that, like his origin
yeah,
story. And then I wanted, yeah, we'll tie it into Junkie Run. I've got a trailer here. We'll talk a bit about that, you and I, because you're the director, you're the writer, that's your baby. But
yeah.
I just I think I'm an easy. I don't know. I feel like you're my therapist now, but I think I'm an easygoing guy, and I know characters are going to be characters, and there's stuff that comes with that. But I just can't help but think like if he was going to be on cue with Tom Power at 2 p.m., I don't know if he'd be texting in at like 3:11 to say like, "Oh, I'm almost at the station" or whatever.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, I honestly, he's, been very reliable with me in the
Okay.
past, like getting the set,
Right, because he's in
I
your
don't
movie.
know. I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna talk to him. I mean, this is part of the whole thing. I mean, this is something, when I'm making movies, this is part of it, is like making sure people get there on time, right? A lot of people I deal with are not normal people, so you have to put in a bit of extra kind of TLC, to kind of make sure things get done right, stay
Sure.
on time, right? So
Oh, I
there
get
is
that.
that
Yeah.
element to this whole thing. It's super stressful, but it wouldn't be what it is without it. You know what I mean? It's like,
I No, you're right, and that's why I say like part of the, I'm not going to call it a negative, but part of the deal when you're dealing with characters is that characters are going to character, and that sometimes means they're not quite as reliable as maybe, I don't know, as somebody with a white collar 9 to 5 job. You know what I mean? I don't know
yeah.
if that's disrespect. I don't mean that to be disrespectful because I love these guys. But okay,
Well,
so
I think these people they're in they're operating on a different, I don't say different reality, but they're in their own
right.
thing, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
they're you know what I mean?
Like he's like, "Oh yeah,
So
I'm gonna go to a bagel shop and cut a promo there first." And I'm like, "Oh, I guess I'm coming in after the bagel guy," but I didn't realize this is, I know our transit has
right.
some issues with speed, but is this subway going, 5 kilometers an hour, or what's going on here? Like it's like, and I was sitting
Yeah.
here, and again, I do have a top secret project I'm working on, and there's an important meeting, and that's why I basically told him to go home. But before I segue to Junkie Run, which which
Yeah.
which I've seen, can you tell me how did you end up hiring David Bronstein to appear in this film?
David's in my last narrative movie, last porno show. He had a smaller part, but
Right.
same thing. I grew up with watching him, and I was like, he plays like a kind of kind of plays himself, but like as a real estate agent. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, he'd be perfect for that kind of role. He can kind of like smooth. He's kind of like just kind of grimy, in terms of wanting to sell this old porno theater. So he came in for 2 days. He killed it. I think he had no idea what to expect because that was a bit more of in that's kind of more closer to like always had nice time in terms of content, like kind of really kind of like more craziness. in like just kind of explicit content. But he came in, he killed it. And when I was doing this movie, I was like, this is kind of like for me, it's almost like my Marvel like Avengers Endgame. I wanted to get all the characters I know together in like one project. And I was like, well, I gotta have David in here somewhere, right? And he was down.
And can we then like segue from that
Sure.
to some, your wife is booked on Toronto Mike soon.
Yes. She will show up. She will not be doing promos at bagel stores beforehand. I promise you.
By the way, can I say you're a lucky man? Is that that won't affect?
Sure, absolutely. I'm lucky. Yeah.
I think you are an extremely lucky man to be, Mr. Liz Worth.
Sure. I'll take that. Yeah, that's great. She's great. She's one of the hardest working people I know. She's very supportive, and she, puts up with all my crazy ideas, and it doesn't tell me not to do stuff that I probably shouldn't do. So it's great. Yeah, it's.
And I just remembered seeing you guys like on the GO train a couple of times, maybe recently, like in the summer.
We're going to a show. What was it? The Budweiser. Who are we seeing?
Was it Neil Young?
Neil Young, maybe. Yeah.
Might have been Neil Young, but I feel like there might have been no.
But she wasn't going to Neil Young. No.
The Who? No, I biked. You know what though?
It may have been the Who.
No, you know why? No, I'm gonna say no. You know why? I biked to those shows.
Oh.
So I'm on the go, which means my wife is with me. That's how I know him.
Did you go to Weird Al?
No, I didn't go to Weird Al.
Did you go to Morrissey?
Nope. We could do this until you have to go. We'll just try to name all shows. But bottom line is, I definitely saw you guys because my local is the Mimico Station. I know you go quite a bit west of there, but we're on the same line there. But I brought up your wife just to say Liz Worth will be in the basement soon, and hopefully won't be as late as David Bronstein. But also because I want to talk about punk here for a minute. Like Junkie Run, and then we'll promote, because a lot of FOTMs involved. Like I'm thinking of like Gary Topp and John Bora. So we're going to cook with gas here now. You can't talk about Dial-A-Date, but you can talk about the punkers that you hired to be in Junkie Run. Can you shout out a bunch of them?
Absolutely. We have a bunch of first wave punk and new wave artists from Toronto. So we have Chris Haight, also my dad from the Vile Tones.
Right.
We have Mickey Skin from The Curse, the first all-female Canadian punk band. We have Michael Dent from The Dents, which was the youngest probably punk band at that time, a Canadian. And then we also have, we have Mickey DeSadist, and we have Chris Houston from the Forgotten Rebels, more local. They're more Hamilton-based. We have Paul Koback, who was the owner of Star Records, the most important record store in Hamilton at that time, and also manager of Teenage Head early on.
Right.
So there's just a few connections in terms of the acting, at least there.
Like we got to slow down here because the Vile Tones, the Forgotten Rebels, the Teenage Head, the Curse. Like, I know your dad's Chris Haight, so you kind of come by this naturally, if you will. But like that alone, I think if I told some of my buds there's a film, and by the way, also kind of a love letter to Hamilton, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
I was just so the big talk of the day, as you know, is Forbidden Rivals. And I don't know if you and Liz have checked out Forbidden Rivals. Not Forbidden Rivals. Is that what they're called? Yeah.
No, something Rivals.
Oh my God! You know what?
The hockey one.
Yeah, but what is it? What's it called? It's not Forbidden Rivals. What is the name of this? Heated Rivalry.
Heated Rivalry.
What's Forbidden Rivals?
That's your next movie you're gonna make.
You know what? I'm so sorry to all the fans out there, because I did just finish watching all 6 episodes. Heated Rivalry is the show I'm trying to talk about here.
Oh man, it's the biggest thing since sliced bread.
But filmed in Hamilton, most of it. Like some in Toronto, but a lot in Hamilton.
Yeah, there's people going around doing TikTok and like videos. This is where this was filmed. This is where that was filmed. And like, so good for them getting thousands of views. But
maybe some of that heat will stick to your fine film, Junkie Run.
Hamilton's a great backdrop for any kind of film. It's got everything you need, right? So yeah, I love it. I mean, it's great to live here. It's great to shoot here and support the city where I can. And it's more of like the underbelly of the city in some ways, but I kind of like that. It's great. It's where I live. Like where we shot the movie is like a 5-minute walk from where I live, most of it. So, it's nothing
Well, you know what it reminds me of? Your film, actually. So I know it was filmed in Hamilton, not far from where you live. Very cool. Move over, heated rivalry. But it kind of reminds me of Parkdale.
Sure. Yep. 100%. But just like on a larger scale.
Yeah.
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 100%. Yeah.
And it all goes back to, you and I cut from the same cloth in that we're both attracted to these characters. And I feel you find these characters in Parkdale and you find these characters in Hamilton.
Yeah. Well, and like Hamilton is its own character, like Parkdale is, you know what I mean? It's just like just the backdrop, the people, just like, like a lot of the stuff we filmed in the movie, a lot of the kind of B-roll is just me with a camera going out and just filming what was happening on the street. A lot of it wasn't planned, right? So yeah, I mean, I've always been drawn to like, people on the fringes, outcasts, outsiders. And Hamilton is, I think, great for that because it's affordable still, so you can have all those characters living in the city and not being pushed out to God knows where, right? So,
Absolutely. So we talked about some of the, the punkers we can see in Junkie Run, but can you speak to the music? And this is maybe where you can tell me about beloved FOTM John Bora.
Oh yeah, I mean, so many people. The soundtrack's just an extension of the movie. It's just like a lot of kind of interesting underground or outsider artists in some ways. Teenage Heads on there, Handsome Ned. We got John Bohr. We got Chris Haight doing a song that's never been recorded properly, but recorded like was written back in the day. We have stuff from some more modern bands. Man Crush, a Toronto like kind of metal band. A great emerging rapper named Jelly Two Fly, who's also in the movie. She has some tracks on there. Kimbo Red Splits. He's also in the movie. He has a song on there. Wayne Larrabee, the East End sensation, right? The busker. If you live in Leslieville, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
He has a few songs on there. Again, it's a continuation of, I think, what I brought to the movies. Like, let's just have the soundtrack kind of mirror what we're seeing, right? And so much great music that doesn't get, I think, appreciated, So I was trying to help give it a little bit of a nudge if I can.
Okay, remind me what time you have to leave this Zoom.
I got to split probably around 3:55.
Okay, so I'm going to spend a couple of minutes playing the trailer, and then I have some more questions about that. And then I have more David Bronstein questions for you. But here's the trailer.
Yeah.
No pay tab.
No pay tab.
I paid my tab last week. I'll pay you again on Friday when I get paid, like I said.
Foggy is on the run with a bag of money.
What? Yo, let me talk to your son.
I gotta make a call.
Daddy, Foggy is on the run with a bunch of money.
Don't you want to better our odds, Neil? We need your help too.
What?
Yeah, man, we wasting time, man.
Nobody looking for that money because it ain't real.
He was hired to test a bunch of drugs. The deal went bad, and all the people involved, they're dead. Holy shit! It's a fight ticket.
Shane knows where Foggy is, man. Come on, I'll take you to it.
My guess, he's probably spending the money that he owes you, buying fentanyl.
He's friends with my girlfriend.
Would you shut up?
Don't act like a bitch.
No, I am not a bitch.
You owe me. Get him! He got the money. Jay, stop!
Can I quote another beloved FOTM?
Sure.
Alan Zweig. Okay, because I want to read his quote about this because I think he summarizes it pretty perfectly. So Alan says, Junkie Run is beautifully, entertainingly, and artfully imperfect. It makes imperfection an art form. It makes low budget into a quality, not a drawback. All I care about is filmmaking, and Kire is the real thing. I think that says it all. Like, I'd rather see Junkie Run than Marvel's The Avengers.
I agree. I agree. And if I had a million people more like you, I'd probably be doing okay. It's just,
You need
right, that's
more me, more Zwags, more
yeah,
guys, more people
we
who
need
get
more
it.
people like this to come out and champion and like support this stuff and kind of get away from all the bigger stuff kind of shoved down our throats, right?
Okay, now I'm going to introduce another beloved FOTM who is named Gary Top.
Yes.
So tell me, how is Gary involved, and specifically with regards to a screening of this film where people can actually step up and support this? He's presenting Junkie Run, right?
Yes. So Gary is the first person I met outside of family and friends who was very supportive, who saw something in me and said, "This kid, keep going. I want to support you. What can I do to help?" And that was like before I'd met. That's before I met Colin Brunn, before I even started on the last Pogo Jumps again. That all kind of came about because of Gary in many ways. Gary had talked to Colin and said, "Hey, check out this kid. Chris's son's also really talented." I met Colin and we kind of hit it off, but it was because Gary, I think a lot of Gary had already told Colin, this is someone you should like check out and mentor in many ways. So Gary's always been supportive of everything I've done from the beginning. Although I haven't worked with Gary directly like this before, when I mentioned I want to do a Toronto screening, Gary's like, "Well, I'm more than happy to put that on." And I was like, "Absolutely, let's do it." So yeah.
And I don't even know if I'm going to give dates and times and all that in a second here, but to summarize this film, and I got this from, I guess there's a promo page from Gary Top, because on February 15th, he's presenting Junkie Run. Where is he presenting it again?
The Paradise Theater.
Yeah.
Up on Bloor.
I like that theater.
Yeah, it's great. It's redone. They did a beautiful job on it. I'm glad it wasn't torn down and made into a condo.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a great place. I think it's a great space for it. And Gary books quite a few things there. And so to have his name attached to it, will just make it go even further, right? So yeah.
But I will point out that outside the Paradise, I was in there for it was a Dave Hodge Reporters live thing. It was pretty cool to be a part of it. I got to drop it in the Toronto Mike feed, but my bike lights were stolen while I was in there.
Yeah, that happens. You can't leave your bike lights on. Say it happens to me in Hamilton. I leave it parked at the train station. When I come back, they're gone. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, no, so I do try, I definitely try to, but sometimes I can't be bothered to remove the lights.
I know.
And I figure, okay, I always say, what's the worst case scenario here is I have to go buy new lights, which does suck, but you kind of gamble a little bit. But
you do. Yeah.
Whoever took those lights needed them more than I do.
You'd hope so.
But okay, so the way that Gary Top summarizes this film, because I think I've done a lousy job of explaining what it's about, but he says, a dive bar, 7 barflies, and a junkie with a bag of cash.
Yeah, that's like the law. I mean, that's the minimum. I would say for me, it's a dark comedic chase film.
Yeah. Set
in the East End of Hamilton, right? So think of movies like It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, maybe even Cannonball Run. But instead of Burt Reynolds in a sports car, it's like David Bronstein.
Right.
You know what I mean? With running around trying to find a fanny pack full of cash. So
I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I do love and I think the reason I like Zweig's quote about it is because I'm guessing you didn't have a monster budget for this one.
No, it's a micro budget film.
But I think that works to your advantage. I feel like it has that grimy grit of the East Hamilton scene, and I think you got these punkers in there, and you got this, like you said, you got a David Bronstein, and you got these local characters, and it's all about Foggy, this local junkie. He's on the run. He's got a bag full of money, and then everybody's kind of backstabbing and scheming and trying to be the first person to find Foggy and take that money. So I think it's rad. I want to tell people this show is 3 p.m. on the February 15th at the Paradise. And I guess, is there a website, or do people just Google this?
Ticketweb.ca. You can get tickets from there.
Okay.
Yeah, so check out that. Yeah.
And I have a question for you about, I read this on Facebook, I think, and you can now confirm or deny, but you wanted an early Forgotten Rebels song for this film, but you weren't able to get it. Tell me that story.
Oh, so Mike Shulga, who produced those first few albums under Star, I guess it was called Star Record, or like the actual label. So he produced like the second, or I think it's the first and second proper Rebels albums. But he's unfortunately passed away a few years ago. And whoever, I think it's his brother or cousin who now controls those masters, and he just wasn't interested with the money we had. So I was just kind of like I don't know, he's waiting for like $1 million paycheck. Like, stuff's not worth that, right? So like I'm trying to like, get the word out, kind of help spread these great songs, keep them alive. And so it's kind of a pain in the ass that he wouldn't go for it. But
I'm disappointed to hear that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because he probably has no one else knocking on his door for this stuff. You know what I mean? It's like how many people are asking to use surfing on heroin? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a bit frustrating, but that's just part of the business, Not everybody wants to play ball.
I guess so, but you're an indie filmmaker making a low budget film like this. That's not where you don't get rich off those guys. Like that's not where you.
No, this movie's not going to make you millions of dollars. I mean, nice if it did, but it's just a weird. This kind of movie is not going to get made through the traditional, I think, system. It got made because I had a great producer, Jason Donville, who, basically believed in me and believed in the project and wanted to see it get done, and he made it happen.
Well, bless that guy, because it is kind of amazing that films like this are still being made. Like I'm so appreciative that you had the drive and the hustle to kind of grind this out with some support, that you're still making movies like this.
You have to. Unfortunately, at my stage, or Matt, it's like I just don't. My ideas aren't attracting what Telefilm and the big financiers want. I mean, although it's a very Canadian story, I think it's not the kind of Canadian story that they want to put money into, right? Unfortunately, same with like my Parkdale doc. It's
right.
Feels like a no-brainer in terms of like give this movie some funding, right? It touches on checks every box you could possibly want, right? In terms of diversity, inclusion, but it's maybe too much so.
Because I have you for a couple more minutes, I'm actually going to play 16 more seconds of The Prince of Love, okay?
Absolutely.
Hey, if you're single and love to party, don't touch that dial. You're about to meet some of the hottest and sexiest single women and men. And you can talk live on Dial a Date, the hottest way to connect. Starring the Prince of Love, David Bronstein.
Just wanted to play enough of that song to get this blocked in Belarus.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And too bad, I mean, hopefully, if you get David on the show, I will personally drop him off at your place on time if that's what it needs to come down to.
Okay, since we only have a few minutes left because this was not in your schedule, so I jammed it in there because I said I want to talk about Junkie Run here. So people support Junkie Run, see Junkie Run. I know there's a cool like 420 Hamilton showing
this weekend. Yes, this Sunday, 3:00, 747 Barton Street East.
That's for the Hammerheads. The Hammerheads.
Yep.
And then Gary Topp's got the Toronto screening at the Paradise. So, okay, well, before I do that, because I kind of have softened here, and I know you only have a couple minutes, but because you're working with Gary Topp, I need to ask if you watched the 60-minute CFNY documentary that's airing on TVO Docs.
Not yet. It's on my list. It's on, I think TVO has it on their website, so I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, you're a Canadian IP address, so you can just watch it on their YouTube channel. Okay, because I was curious what you thought of that. Because Gary Topp, well, he sat down to be interviewed for it, but he doesn't appear in the doc. But Gary Cormier's got a couple of parts, but there is no reference to the Garys or their role in it all. Like I felt like, how do you not reference the police picnic and how the Garys worked with CFNY back in the day?
Yeah, that's, again, I haven't seen it, but I mean, that's feels like a no-brainer in terms of including that stuff, right? And like, a lot of those bands that the Garys were booking, went hand in hand with what that station was playing, right?
Yeah, like the Spoons. The Spoons, I just, Rob Pruce is here once a month. His first appearance, it was the night that John Lennon was murdered. It was at the Edge, and that was a Gary's presentation. And I'll just say this too, like, because I I am the guy who moderated the panel discussion at the Red Room when Gary Topp launched his book when he was not long ago. And Ivor Hamilton, you mentioned Colin Brunton. He was there, of course, Gary Cormier. But Ivor Hamilton was a part of that panel.
Yeah.
And he's an executive producer of CFNY Docs. So if Gary Topp is listening, you got fucked, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows what they're going for. It's only an hour long. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
They needed more room. I think they needed more room for Geddy Lee. That's what I think that's about.
Oh, he's in it quite a bit?
Well, and it's only 60-minute doc. If he's in there for 8 minutes, that's quite a bit, if you ask me.
Wow. Yeah. Well, he's a big name, I guess. I don't know.
He's a monster name, okay? So here, in your last 2 minutes, and I appreciate you doing this at the last minute, but
of course,
it's David Bronstein slot you've taken here. But I've softened in this half hour of chatting with you. I've softened my feelings on David. So I'll admit to you now, I think maybe you could tell, but I was actually pissed because...
Sure, I get it.
I was pissed.
You should be mad. This is, you set up all this time. It's your time. You're helping us out. You want, you're trying to do a good thing, and your time is valuable, right?
And also, not only did I want the story, and did I prepare for the story and block the time, which means I'm not making any money because I'm waiting for this episode. But David, I also felt like I was letting you down on some level because I know you were the guy who put this together, and I always planned to do a Junkie Run promo in the David Bronstein episode. So I felt like I was letting you down. So I'm glad we could do this. But here's where I'm at. So I was like, fuck this guy. Am I worth so little to you that you'll let me know you're almost at Islington Station when you're already an hour and 20 minutes late? The whole thing felt so disrespectful. But now that I've chatted with you and we've had some time to kind of sit with it, I'm a forgiving man, Kire. So I would absolutely reschedule David Bronstein's visit to the basement, but this is not going to be a 3 strikes you're out. This is going to be a 2 strikes you're out on Bronstein.
Yeah. No, and that's honestly the fact that you give him a second chance is very nice of you. And if it happens, it should. I will personally somehow figure out to get him. Yeah.
So can I leave this with you?
Yeah.
Because I know you got to get out of here now. But help me reschedule Bronstein and help me make that happen. And we'll break the fucking internet with this thing, man.
Of course, he's a legend, and his story is interesting, and his story is still interesting. And I think he should be talking to people and getting he's an interesting guy. I think he's done a lot of interesting things, and he should be promoting himself more than just talking about bagels and Starbucks. So
he had a bagel. He had a bagel promo to do. He told me.
I know. So
I don't know what that's about.
That's David.
Okay.
So Mike, I appreciate you so much for having me on and for helping plug the movie. It really means a lot.
Okay, and I want to say I like your mustache. I don't know if that's a work in progress or if that's completed.
I go through phases.
Okay, and I look forward to your lovely wife visiting me in the basement to mix it up, and I can't wait. And you can help me get David Bronstein, and you are now dismissed, Mr. Kire Paputt.
Bye, everybody.
Peace out. And there he goes. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up this episode by saying that I enjoyed my chat with Kire. Unscheduled, unplanned, but I was pissed off at David Bronstein. Who would have thought I would be let down by the man behind Dial a Date? That's one for my one-man show at the El Macombo. Stay tuned. Soon I will be selling tickets to my one-man show at the El Macombo. In the meantime, I just want to say thank you to my sponsors. I was going to give David Bronstein some fresh craft beer from Great Lakes Brewery. And I was going to give him a large frozen lasagna from Palma Pasta. And I was going to give him a measuring tape from Ridley Funeral Home. And some excellent advice. RecycleMyElectronics.ca is where David could go if he had old electronics, old devices, old cables. He wouldn't throw that in the garbage. He'd go to RecycleMyElectronics.ca. And I would give him another piece of advice. I'd say, David, you want to check out a cool new podcast? Building Toronto Skyline with Nick Iones from Fusion Corp. Hook it to your veins, brother. So no David Bronstein today, but I will have him back on. And if he doesn't show up for that, he's out. He's on the shit list. The next episode of Toronto Mic'd could be fantastic. Andy Stokansky, that's a musical legend from these parts. He's coming in, but there's a special co-host for this Toronto Mic'd debut for Andy Stokansky. I'm talking about Blair Packham, the co-host of Rewinder. That's happening 1 p.m. Monday. I can't wait. And that brings us to the end of our 1,837th show. Go to torontomic.com for all your Toronto Mic needs. And get a ticket to support independent films like Junkie Run. It is a love letter to Hamilton, but Kire's last movie was a love letter to Parkdale. And I just like the cut of his jib. Much love to all who made this possible. Again, that's Great Lakes Brewery. That's Palma Pasta. Go to palmapasta.com. Nick Aini's. I'll see you tomorrow, Nick. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. And Ridley Funeral Home. Their podcast is called Life's Undertaking. The next episode is Brad Jones chiming in from Asia. That'll be fun. See you all Monday. Again, Andy Stokansky. Live in the basement with Blair Packham. See you all then.